catty Halloween, or are we going to lean into this?
Happy Cataween?
Can we just scream Happy Halloween and then I'll just put that at the beginning or whoever edits it. 1, 2, 3. Happy Halloween!
I'm meowed.
That's a cackle. That's good.
You are listening to AP Taylor Swift, the podcast for Swifties who are all about the lyrics. We're your hosts. I'm Jen.
I'm Muncie.
And I'm Jody.
And we are your unofficial professors of Taylor Swift. Hello, and welcome to a very, very, very special episode of AP Taylor Swift for Monzi and I, and a hater episode of AP Taylor Swift for Jody.
Wow, starting spicy, and I should never have said what I said.
This week we are doing cat songs in honor of Taylor Swift and her 3 cats. We are going to be talking about songs that one way, shape, or form we have connected to the world of cats. And before we hit record, I was sharing that I wanted to talk a little bit about how cat owners tend to be more respectful of boundaries. They're willing to put in the time, and that I think it's really toxic that a lot of men hate cats because I think that just means that they don't respect boundaries. But before I could say that, Jody was like, I don't like cats. And I was like, so you're a toxic person.
Okay, I'm not a man. First of all, you said men are toxic who don't like cats. I am a woman. Second of all, I feel like there's some bias in that perspective. There's probably going to be bias in this entire episode, but that's okay. We are a biased podcast because we love Taylor Swift. That's fine. I got scratched badly by a cat when I was a kid, and so just
Same.
Okay,
Boo-hoo.
All right. Well, are we going to compare traumas?
I love this. Usually I'm on the receiving end of this ire. This is great.
You're like,
I have a scar. My sister has a scar. My cat growing up sent a friend of the
than I am.
A friend of our family to the hospital because he bit her finger so hard it broke a finger bone, and he was the love of my life. I adopted Hades because Hades looked like that cat.
I think that's not a discussion for this podcast. That's a discussion for another type
Oh, you're not willing
podcast.
to work through hard things? You're not willing to get to understand the perspective of another living creature? Interesting.
Okay, before
so,
we
Monty, you've got the first song.
Before we lose all of our dog-loving audiences here.
To be clear, my perspective is if there's an animal, I love it. I'm vegan for the reason of I can't eat animal products because of how much I love animals. Our first pet as a married couple was a hedgehog. Like,
oh my
I'm
God,
not a dog versus cat. I'm just a give me the animal.
I'm not dog versus cat. I don't think I'd be a good cat owner.
Because you're bad at boundaries. False. Yeah. No, it's if you're not able to love
I
a creature...
need something to love me. Okay? I need the reciprocal love. That's what I need.
I will say my cats are so needy that, like...
Oh my God, yes.
They've been called dog-like, but anyways, I'm going to ground our discussion in why the heck are we talking about cats, since...
I think we're not talking, I think we're arguing, but anyway.
We skipped that entire part of the premise and the setup. Okay, so we're a literary podcast. Why is today's topic cats? And there are a few reasons. First of all, there's a great work of art, a very famous musical called Cats, which is actually based on the writings of T.S.
Jody's
Elliot.
In her hater era today, y'all. She just stuck out her tongue and like gagged.
Because if I had seen Cats the musical as a child, I think I would hate musicals.
Okay, but apparently the musical itself did really well, and now we're watching the movie. So I want to
caveat
the fact that I have not seen the musical, so I cannot speak for the musical. We are all watching the movie though, and we will have bonus content where we actually talk about Cats and the musical and more about cats and literature in more detail. So if you are interested, definitely sign up for our bonus content. It's our after school sessions. It's going to be exclusive for our paid followers. But if you want to learn more, definitely join us there. Hopefully there will not be as much arguing, but I can't make a ton of promises. But one thing that I did want to cover before we dive in, like, yes, there's this amazing literary work, you could say, or like this fine arts performance of Cats in the musical. It's written based on things by T.S. Eliot.
Yeah, I was going to say, it does have literary foundations with the T.S. Eliot poems.
Yes. And outside of just that phenomenon, which our queen Taylor Swift was very much involved with as well when it became a movie, We know that Taylor Swift loves cats, and so it felt like a very natural connection. And there have actually been some really significant cat characters in literature throughout history. There's also dog characters as well. We're focusing on the feline ones. But I wanted to look into this because actually there's a bar close by in San Francisco that is called Charmaine's, but it's all cat themed and all of their drinks are named after literary cats. And turns out there are quite a few literary cats. And so a quick AI search revealed that some symbolism and themes that show up in the literature, cats often represent mystery and independence. I think one of the reasons that a lot of people do get nervous around cats and don't love them as much is because they're quite unpredictable and people never know their next move. I know one of my friends gets very uneasy because of that. And I think that really lends itself to the mysteriousness when people are using cats as symbols. Of course, there's the black cat. Edgar Allan Poe wrote about the black cat, and we all know about the superstition that comes with black cats, with guilt and paranoia and the uncanny. They are associated with magic and superstition. J.K. Rowling used cats in Harry Potter. Professor McGonagall, of course, can turn into a cat. And then Mrs. Norris was a character. We know about cats in Alice in Wonderland. The Cheshire Cat was this kind of creepy in the cartoon cat, but always this kind of wise but humorous, cryptic kind of
Wiley,
character.
I would call him.
What did you say?
Wiley.
Wily. I like that word. Yeah, just there was something very mysterious about the cat, but there's a level of companionship and wit that comes along with it too. Alice kind of starts relying on the presence of the cat, right, in Wonderland. And then there's T.S. Eliot works, which is what the actual musical is based off of. It's called The Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. So we'll go into much more detail in our bonus content in our after school hours, but just wanted to tee up that there have been literary references. And like with most things, the metaphor, the symbolism can come together to convey something. And Taylor will use cats in her music as well. So we all came with different kind of prompts. We picked songs that we felt were most relevant to this theme, but we didn't limit ourselves in how it would be relevant. So I'm excited today to talk through what everybody thought of.
Yeah, and it's definitely cats are very much associated with the feminine as well, which I read the book Marx for Cats, which goes through the history of Marxism and capitalism through cat imagery throughout history. Really fascinating book, very dense book, but I did enjoy it. It was a fun way to go through history. But one of the things they talked about is when you go back to witch burnings and all of that, that cats were associated with women as the familiars of witches, and dogs were associated with men who were hunting and killing. And so the idea of like cats were, trigger warning, I was very upset with this, but cats were pretty brutally murdered along with a lot of the witch trials because it was thought that the cats were the voice of the devil who was tricking these women or who these women were using. So there was this, in the same way in our ecofeminism criticism episode, we talked about ecofeminism of nature was women, industry was male. Cats have been historically feline, dogs have been historically masculine, as far as, for my husband to not eat meat and to love cats could be an emasculating thing, but he doesn't care because he's not an idiot, which is nice. But that is a thing. So sometimes the hatred of cats, sure, Jody, maybe whatever, isn't a misogynist, but it often is misogynistic, particularly from men, of this rejection of boundaries, the feline, the feminine. It does often get woven together. So for Taylor to align herself so clearly with cats, to lean into that, one, she loves her cats, that's real, but it also does align with a lot of the other messages that she tends to do of feeling separated, othered, and all of that as a woman, which she's a rich white woman, so it's even not as hard for her, of course, as other people, but there is still an element of it.
So I have the first song today, and I will admit that the first song is probably going to be the most abstract interpretation of this topic because I did not choose a song that explicitly mentions cats, nor do I have any evidence that Taylor Swift wrote it about cats. Although once we go through it, I think all of you may start to question if this is not what the song is really about. I chose the song State of Grace It is from Red, came out in 2012, and it is written by Taylor Swift, a solo Taylor Swift song. Maybe I'm back on my Taylor Swift streak. And this song, first of all, I love this song. It's one of my favorites. We all unanimously agreed that we're going to be deep diving this one. So we're excited about that. But this song is, to me, about one particular aspect of our relationships that we have with cats. If you are a cat lover or if you happen to have cats, you may have heard about the cat distribution system. The cat distribution system, yeah, Jody is shaking her head. I'm not surprised. It's a little niche. The cat distribution system is this internet-led belief that, much like wands in the wizarding world, the cat chooses the human, not the other way around. You get assigned a cat when you are in need, when the cat has a job to do, when you have earned a cat. I don't know, for whatever many reasons. But the idea is that sometimes people can just find themselves spontaneously crossing paths with a cat, and that cat selects them, and then that cat becomes theirs, and then that they become the cats, and they're just set. The relationship has formed. And it's different from, by contrast, with dogs, where there's a little bit more planning involved. Dogs, of course, do require a little bit more energy and typically aren't just roaming the streets wild, at least in this country. In some countries it's different, but here at least you don't just stumble upon a dog and then make it yours usually, but that is quite common with cats. And so put yourself in that mind frame.
My favorite part of that meme is it's stuff that it's like, this is my dog, Pearl. I spent $5,000. She's a purebred, and I got her from this breeder for these reasons. And this is Muffins. I found him in the garbage can out back. I love them both.
Yeah, I actually Googled the definition or origin of cat distribution system because I was like, where did this come from? And Google told me it's a whimsical internet-born concept. Suggesting that
AKA
cats,
meme.
that cats, not humans, decide when and with whom they form a bond. Seemingly random yet meaningful. So this is the frame of mind that I would like you to be in as we discuss this song, State of Grace.
Right.
Okay. I'm walking fast through the traffic lights, busy streets and busy lives, and we all know it's touch and go. We are alone with our changing minds. We fall in love till it hurts or bleeds, fades in time. Just imagine a young, sprightly kitten pouncing or trouncing or putzing its way across the busy, busy streets, dodging behind trash cans here and there, just minding its own business.
What does the cat look like?
I'm seeing
It's very
Aristocats.
cute.
I'm seeing the movie Aristocats in my head.
Aristocats is a lovely example, Jody.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now imagine another human walking similarly fast-paced through a bustling city, just minding their own business. And we get to the chorus. I never saw you coming, and I'll never be the same.
Oh.
You come around, the armor falls, pierces a room like a cannonball. Now all we know is don't let go. We are alone, just you and me up in your room. Our slates are clean, just twin firesides, 4 blue eyes.
This is adorable, Monty.
No.
It's like true love when you find your cat and your cat finds you and you're just meant to be. And one thing that I really like about the song is that it uses the term state of grace. Grace, of course, being a religiously charged term in Christianity, and just this idea of state of grace in a kind of like a divine ordained state where things just are the way they're supposed to be. It's right. It's something bigger than just the normal. And to me, that first meeting when you meet your cat and your cat chooses you because of this distribution system, that's what I was thinking of with this song. There are a few other hints throughout this as well. You were never a saint is very applicable to cats. Cats are ridiculous. They knock things off the tables. They only come to you when they want to. We've loved in shades of wrong. We learn to live with the pain. But this love is brave and wild. I heard this thing when I first got my cat that cats have never really been domesticated. they're still kind of wild. Like even the
Yeah.
domestic cats are not very different from the wild
Yeah, they
cats.
climb up on everything.
Yeah, and they can't really be trained. Like they
Yeah.
will do things that you want them to do. They understand. So like
Right. But they're not going to listen.
we've taught our cats tricks. They will jump through the arms if you ask them to and give them a treat and to entice them, but you cannot train them. Like if they don't want to, they will not do it. Really, this entire song, You're My Achilles heel. I definitely feel that way about my cats. Definitely point of weakness. And it's a golden age of something good and right and real. For this part, I wanted to tie it back to what Jen was saying about just cats being a very feminine kind of creature. I feel like cats have really had a bad rap historically, and it's been kind of turning around in the last few decades. I think it's very much tied to women getting a voice that is heard. And so as women become more taken more and more seriously, or as women are in more positions of power or whatever, like you kind of just start seeing more and more cats as their familiars to this day. And Taylor Swift is a prime example of that. She's just like very proud cat lady. And so it kind of does feel like we're entering a brave new age, a golden age of something that's good and right and real. And yeah, that's all I got.
I think that's a good example too of what I think is something unique I love about cats. I've had dogs, I've always loved my dogs, but we adopted our two cats together and it took several months for us all to adjust cuz that happens when you get new pets. But I still remember like as they were warming up, they kind of chose us. Like Hades chose me. He's my cat not because I said that's my cat. He said, "Okay, you're my person."
Mm.
And the like thrill it feels when a cat decides like you're my person is like so rewarding and so satisfying of like, yeah, he chose me.
Yeah, honorable mention. Karma is a cat purring in my lap. Please see old Substack to unpack
Yeah.
that one.
But like Chris took a picture the other day of I was still asleep and it's not flattering, so it's not going on Instagram. So I'm passed out asleep. But Chris took a picture of Hades was curled up next to me with one arm wrapped around my waist, looking at Chris like she's sleeping. Could you leave her alone? Like, excuse me. And I'm like, yeah, that's my buddy. He chose me.
I love it. I think, Monty, you also set a nice segue into my song when you talked about Taylor Swift making the cat lady trope a good thing and like kind of owning the idea of women having cats and making that more positive. I chose a song where I will talk all about the cat lady trope. I chose Gorgeous 2017 from Reputation, written by Taylor Swift, Max Martin, and Shellback. The, the new Holy Trinity. Can we say that? I know we used to call Aaron, Jack, and Taylor the Holy Trinity, but maybe. But this is the original Holy Trinity. They were
True.
they
It's
came
true.
first.
The OGs.
And Gorgeous is track 8 off of Reputation. R.I.P. Reputation, Taylor's version. So the cat lady is a culture. I'm reading from Wikipedia. Cat lady is a cultural archetype or stock character, most often depicted as a middle aged or elderly spinster or widow who has many cats. The term may be pejorative or it may be affectionately embraced. And I think it's such a testament to Taylor Swift and how she reclaims the term cat lady. Because to your point, Monty, she unapologetically loves her cats, unapologetically showcases her cats. Her cat has been on the cover of Time magazine, right? She was like, I will accept being Time Person of the Year if I can bring my cat. And her cats have shown up in her music videos, in her tour promotion, in everything. She loves these cats. And she is also the opposite of a spinster. She is not middle aged.
Well, I guess. How do you define middle aged?
50. If you're going to live to 100, middle age is 50. Thank you very much. She's younger than me. She's not middle aged. Women who have cats have long been associated with spinsterhood, widowhood, even witchcraft. And the where I think I'm getting to with the song Gorgeous, in more recent decades, the concept of a cat lady has been associated with a quote, romance challenged, often career oriented women. That is where we found ourselves in trigger warning the 2024 election with the phrase childless cat lady, which is how Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris for the election. She reclaimed that trope of being the childless cat lady and made it a positive thing. The song, gorgeous. The song is about falling for somebody, being infatuated with them, like just totally intoxicated with them, possibly unrequited love. And we know that because she says, "You've ruined my life by not being mine. You're so gorgeous. I can't say anything to your face. Look at your face. Like, oh my God, I want you. But like, how can I have you?" So like, we go into that idea of romance challenged, single. This is something I want and I can't have. And the cat, shockingly enough, shows up where else but in the bridge. At the end of the bridge, she says, "You make me so happy it turns back to sad. There's nothing I hate more than what I can't have. And I guess I'll just stumble on home to my cats, ugh, alone, unless you want to come along." So here we have the cat lady trope used as a contrast to what she actually wants. She wants to be happy. She wants to be romantically connected to this gorgeous person. So being home alone with my cats is the opposite, painting her as sad and lonely unless he wants to be with her. So I think that she's really playing into the cat lady trope, but it's also done very tongue in cheek because, as we said, Taylor embraces her cat lady title as a positive thing. She loves her cats. She loves being career oriented and being and owning who she is. But for the purposes of this song and the song's narrative, she's engaging with that negative stereotype of being a cat lady. That here I am, I can't have this love that I want, this person. Who knows if it's even love? It's just this infatuation. And the opposite of being able to be happy and romantically connected to this person is, I'm going to be all alone with my cats. How sad. But we really know she's not sad being at home with her cats. She very much enjoys being at home with her cats.
It almost feels like a character to me in
Yes.
Gorgeous, which we know Reputation is a lot of, I was gonna say character play, but that maybe has a weird connotation. That sounded weird coming out, but
Might
that's
be
fine.
a different Google search.
Sorry.
Somebody wants.
She's playing with the character of Taylor Swift, the Snake Queen
Yeah.
or whatever. And it almost feels to me, because the song is "You're So Gorgeous," that she's playing with this, like, ugh, I'd rather be with you than my cats, but then, like, behind the scenes, Taylor is like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. My
With
cats are kind of
would be
great.
pretty, yeah, that might be better.
It's like all those things on the internet where single women, and I mean, we're on different sides of the internet because you guys get the cat distribution system and I get the what it's like to be single in your 30s. And it's like, oh well, you could be out with all these people, and it's like, or I could be home picking the TV show that I want to watch, ordering the food that I want to eat, and not having to deal with anybody else. And that sounds great.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, especially that part where she's like, ugh, or
Right.
alone in the chorus. You can She also, like, kind of alerts us that it's a little tongue in cheek with the little,
The
like,
ding.
ding that
Yeah.
goes to. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree. And yeah, I think it's like more about what people were saying about her, and she's leaning into
Right.
that and leaning into the
Yeah.
what is on the internet, and like what's
Right.
the thing that people say versus how she actually feels.
Because the whole song is leaning into this idea that someone can be so gorgeous, I can't say anything, and that you stop me in my tracks, and I literally can't do anything unless I have you. I must have you, otherwise my entire life is going to be terrible. And it's like, okay, really? But like, that's a character.
I also do appreciate, obviously she has more than one cat, but I love the fact that she takes the care to say home to my
Plural.
cats.
Plural. But I think that really that really hammers home the
Yeah.
stereotype because
Yes.
you have, I mean, I had a friend who, I think it was around this time, had two cats. And she said to her now husband, "Either we can get engaged or I get another cat. And for each year we don't get engaged, I get another cat." And let me be clear, she was very happy getting another cat.
Yeah.
Like, that was a great choice. They ended up getting married. But, having one cat, you're a cat lady. Having two cats, oh my God, how pathetic. Having three, and Taylor didn't have three at this point, but she now does. Like, that is seen like you must be really sad and really lonely. It's like, or I can have three cats, so why wouldn't I?
Yeah. That's a thing, I think. It is also, I guess I never really thought about it that way, but as you were saying this, I was thinking of how empowering it is that women can also just have multiple cats and it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
totally theirs. It's not that much more work to take care of. It's pretty easy, and like multiple is actually easier because they like kind of entertain themselves.
Yeah.
And that's like a pretty empowering thing, I think, in the world, to just say, like, I don't need a man, I don't need a family, I don't need these things, but I'm not alone in my house. I have my companions. I have my
I
cat.
think about this all the time with Maisel, my dog Maisel, that I am a single woman with a dog. And so many people, whether it's a cat, particularly with dogs, so they're a lot of work, would wait until they have a partner to get a dog. But like, why would I wait? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love her.
exactly.
She brings so much joy to my life. And why would I wait? And I think it's the same thing with a cat, whether it's one, two, or three. Like, there's this ownership
Yeah.
and autonomy that this is my life, and if this is what I want and I can have it, I can afford it, and it makes sense for my life, I'm gonna do it.
Right. And it's kind of that low barrier to entry. Like, to the
Yeah,
point that you're saying, like, maybe not everyone can get a
right.
dog at
But
this
if you
stage.
can,
But
but if you can,
if you can have a creature, and cats are just easy. So it's like the fact
right.
that women can just do that and like not really have to depend on anybody is pretty an empowering thing, actually.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of internet things that are like, a man needs to provide better companionship than my pet.
Yeah,
And so far, I haven't found
haven't found
that.
that.
I'm like, that's fair. That's like actually a really healthy bar to have, maybe even higher, but it's like a pretty easy, like, if what you bring to me is like, I'd rather be at home with my pet, then like, either bring better, like, up your game, or we're not a good fit.
Like, Maisel doesn't cook dinner, I have to cook for her, but also she's better companion and she's a great snuggler.
Yeah, I
And
get
she's
it.
always incredibly happy to see me. She's never mad at me, except when I don't play with her. But then as soon
I
as I get
mean,
the ball for her, she's very happy. So,
that's
like,
definitely a plus one for dogs versus cats. Cats kind of humble you a little bit.
yeah, but
Oh,
cats are
Hades
easier.
greets me at the door with little chirping sounds whenever I come home.
That's adorable.
But not
Hades,
always. If they're pissed.
Yeah. He doesn't get mad at me that much. Peggy's a little more dramatic, but anyways, we digress. I have the third song, and I I will make it about cats, but it's more here because it's from the film Cats. I chose the song Beautiful Ghosts, which came out in 2019 as an original new song on the film Cats that was co-written between Andrew Lloyd Webber and Taylor Swift. I really love this song. I think just as a musical song, if we take out the weird CGI of the film, I actually think it's an incredible musical song. It's really beautiful. It was fun to see Taylor flex a different type of style of writing, which we know she's so good at. But it's a song from the point of view of the main cat, whose name I don't remember. I'll rewatch the movie soon. It's been a couple of years.
Victoria.
Is that it? I just looked up the names and got lost in the sauce for a second of just
Yeah.
reading all the
Ready?
cat names.
Bustopher Jones,
I like blacked out.
Jenny Anydots, Rum Tum Tugger,
Oh, yes, Rum Tum
Munkunstrap.
Tugger. Yes.
That okay, anyway, for more on
Yeah, I
Cats,
was just
the
gonna say.
2019 musical, please subscribe to After School. All I will say is that's 2 hours of my life I will never get back, and that's the sneak preview of our episode. Not the episode, like the movie was 2 hours of my life I'll never get back, which
Jody
we'll
just
talk
doesn't
about.
want to feel joy, and that's her own
I
personal choice. We
Don't
can't do
like
anything
the
about
musical
it.
Cats.
So, Beautiful Ghost is a beautiful song. Even if you don't, can you admit that Beautiful Ghost is a beautiful song at least, Jody?
Absolutely. I didn't say
Thank
anything
you.
negative about the song.
I don't know where we're starting these days, Jody.
Taylor Swift has a random British accent for like 2 words in the song, and
Oh,
that
yeah, she
really bugs
does.
me.
We're locking it in, guys. We're locking
Save it
in.
for After School.
Okay. Beautiful Ghost. So it's from the point of view of Victoria, the cat, who is our protagonist in the story. Don't really need to know much about the story other than she's an outsider. And one of the things I really like about the song, other than the fact that it's just beautiful, is it really captures this idea of feeling lost and feeling like an outsider. So it starts out with the lines, "Follow me home if you dare to. I wouldn't know where to lead you." So the idea, follow me home, but I don't have a home. I have nowhere to go, is just this really beautiful poetic way to talk about that, and to put it in the point of view of a stray cat. makes everything Monzi said at the beginning of this episode even more like heart-wrenching of like we're getting the like pre-state of grace story of a cat here. And she talks about at least you have something to cling to, visions of dazzling rooms I'll never get let into. So this idea of I've never had a home. Other stray cats have had a home, but this cat was born into nothing. This cat is feels like they're going into nothing. And I was really glad you brought up that cats aren't really domesticated, Monzi, because I think I've spent a lot of time thinking about this and I still don't feel like I can clearly articulate it. So we might go on a bit of a journey in the next few minutes as I try to get there. But I think that's something that is so powerful about the combination of the feminine and the feline to me of cats aren't domesticated. They're not going to do exactly what you tell them. And one of the final lines of the song is, I know that this life isn't safe, but it's wild and free. So, this idea of a stray cat who's never known home is heartbreaking, yet we get to this cat who says, that's okay though, this life isn't safe, but it's wild and free. And there's something about that. There's so many other gorgeous lines in the song. I highly recommend listening to it. But there was something about this idea of being lost, but also choosing being lost and free to being captured and being limited did feel deeply feminine to me of I will choose my own path. I would rather be unsafe and be free, which being unsafe as a woman has other connotations, but this idea of for many, many decades, the idea of being safe as a woman was going from, you know, your father's house to a husband's house, was always being attached to a man. And the idea of saying, I'm going to not be identified by a man was a dangerous, scary thing to do. And I think this song taps into that of like, sometimes that's hard. Sometimes I want safety, I want security. But the ultimate conclusion is I'll dance with these beautiful ghosts and I'll choose to be wild and free. So, like, there's these ghosts of what I could have had. I'm going to
Right.
dance with those ideas. I'm going to choose to be free, anyways, even if it's not safe, even if it's not comfortable. That's the choice I'm going to make. And the lack of domestication in cats and the fact that we can't train cats, but we love them anyways, to me is really like admiring. And it's not 100% a joke of like if a man doesn't like cats at all, it's kind of like you need to tell me more why.
Why? Yeah.
Because if your goal is something you can train and like make do exactly what you
Right.
want and you're not willing to respect a creature who won't do what you want, we need to go figure that out.
Or we don't. We just need to not have it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
bye.
Exactly,
No, but
exactly.
this song, the more you're talking about the connection between cats and women and the feline as a feminist symbol, like this sounds like a feminist anthem to me that
Mhm.
I never like all that I wanted was to be wanted, but I never knew I'd love this world they let me into. And all the memories were lost long ago. Like I like where I am now and I'll let go of what I thought I should want or what I thought my life would be and embrace where I am and who I am, which is wild and free, even though that is scary. And I think that's a really beautiful connection. And also connects it to the idea of like reclaiming the cat lady trope as well. And this
Mhm.
idea of saying, wait, this is this thing that we've always said was negative actually is not. It's something that we really should be embracing. And it makes the whole idea of embracing the childless cat lady trope even more empowering.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
one of the other lines I've always loved is out here the wild ones are taming the fear within me. Cats are often
Mm,
projected as solitary creatures. They are often solitary hunters. They'll prefer to hunt alone, but they're very social creatures. So we think they used to be thought of as isolated, but my cats love each other and they love us, their people. But if they wanted to go hunting, they tend to do their hunt playtime on their own.
mhm.
And the idea of, as a woman, maybe finding other women who are like, I don't want to be defined by this, and how much that like community is soothing and important of the wild ones are taming the fear within me of when you meet someone who is like strong and independent and not scared of being strong and independent, like a wild one taming the fear within you. The idea of taming too, they're not taming you, they're not making you be anything, they're taming the fear that lets you be untamed in some
I love
ways. Like,
that.
that line I think is so beautiful every time I hear it.
One thing that this made me think of is I took a class on poetry of animality a few years ago, and it was like specifically studying poems that are written that use animals in the heart of the poetry, and thinking through what that tells us, about the person writing the poem. Why do we use these animals? What are we using them to communicate? And I think for as long as humans have been around, we have looked at animals and tried to relate. Like, our tendency is to just understand the whole world through our perspectives, right? And so I think when humans look into the eyes of any other creature, we're looking for similarities. It's the same way that you try to find people like you in any setting. You also try to find the commonality even with creatures. And so I think it's really interesting to me that women have always gravitated towards cats for the reasons that you said at the beginning of the episode, Jen. But I'm also thinking about the fact that there is something there to just this idea of women who have been caged for so many years really finding common ground and identifying with cats or relating to them, because they are different in some ways. Cats are kind of free in that sense. They are kind of unrestrained. But the fact that women kind of identify more with that because they're like maybe free spirits, I think is really
Independent.
interesting.
Yeah.
Independent, or
I
just
always
like,
think of cats are independent. Like they are capable of being alone. Like you can go away
yeah,
and leave food, and like your cat will
they'll
be fine.
figure
A
it out.
dog, you
Yes.
can't, and that's why women are cats and men are dogs, as men
And
need
that's
to
so
be taken
true.
care of.
It's like men are portrayed as these stronger characters, but they
They're
really
not. They're dependent.
they're totally dependent. And the realization that people like, the more that people figure that out, things like start to shift. But I think one thing that there's two things. There's one is that cats also have adapted to humans. Like the meow apparently is like a developed trait to communicate with humans. Cats in the wild don't meow. So they can learn how to adapt to their environment, and women similarly have the survival instinct and will adapt to the environments that they're placed in. But the really interesting thing with all these parallels to me is that at the beginning of the episode, when I talked about how in literature, cats are always portrayed as being kind of mysterious, so much of the literature that we read is written by men. And I think it's just really fascinating that cats represent mysteriousness to men who also don't understand women. And women are also kind of portrayed as these kind of mysterious, sometimes unreliable characters. Like there's a reason that it's just a very fascinating idea to think about all the different reasons why women are tied to this feline creature.
I have a cat purring on my lap.
'Cause
Mine's
it loves
next
you.
to me in the
He does
basket.
love me, yeah. All right. Well, next week we will be deep diving State of Grace, so be sure to tune in for that. But if you want to join our after school program, become a subscriber on Substack and hear our argument, our friendship ending debate. I don't know how it's gonna go.
There
Our
might not be another
reactions-
episode after that after school.
Our reactions to the Cats film. I'm also going to be making Chris watch it with me for the first time, so I'll take notes about what horrifies him the most, because I'm interested to see the male reaction to this.
Maybe he should be on the episode.
My
we'll
husband
see how
flat
it goes.
out refused, so you have one.
Your
up
husband
on
and I
me.
have something in common, except I had to do it for the podcast. So
Well, join us next week as we overanalyze and deep dive more Taylor Swift music.
that's all we have for you today on AP Taylor Swift. Be sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. Follow us on your social channel of choice at AP Taylor Swift to stay up to date. And join us next time as we overanalyze and deep dive into the next Taylor Swift song on AP Taylor Swift.